was charged in a collision last September. We have the details. A power outage planned in Kenora tomorrow. What Hydro One customers need to know about the outage. Airlines pushing for subsidies in Northwestern Ontario. We have the details on that story. Shower and thunderstorm chances continue into next week. I have the timeline and the greatest possibilities ahead. And in sports, Canada's got a big game at the World Cup today, along with Border Cats action and Blue Jays action. Northwestern 5 begins now.
From Lady River and Lake of the Woods to the corner of Lake Superior, this is Northwestern 5.
And welcome to only our third newscast in the course of a week. As you can tell, we've been extremely motivated here at Talking News Official to bring you guys the latest news from around Northwestern Ontario. So let's not waste any time. A Thunder Bay City Transit driver has been charged after a pedestrian was reportedly hit by a bus last year. In a media release issued this morning, Thunder Bay Police said officers were called on September 11th, 2025 about a report of a collision between a city bus and a pedestrian in the George Street and May Street South area. The pedestrian, who police identified at the time as a 42-year-old woman, was taken to hospital with what police called life-threatening injuries. Traffic and forensic identification units then became involved. In today's media release, police said the driver, a 50-year-old from Thunder Bay, turned themselves in on June 22nd and was charged with dangerous operation of a vehicle causing bodily harm. Police did not name the accused in their media release, as they said the charge hadn't been read yet in court. The driver was released under an undertaking with a future court date. The Nuclear Waste Management Organization's Deep Geological Repository has landed on the federal government's proposed list of projects of natural interest. The federal government calls the DGR project a world-recognized best practice solution for safe, long-term storage of all used nuclear fuel. The site is located between Ignis and the Wabigoon Lake Ojibwe Nation. The government says there are several advantages of listing the project under the Building Canada Act. Namely, the NWMO can streamline and consolidate key federal permits and authorizations. It also means the project goes from whether it should proceed to how it will proceed. The government adds that the support of Indigenous communities for this project is critical. The cost of groceries in Northwestern Ontario continues to rise. The Northwestern Health Unit has released its annual price for a healthy food basket. In the most recent survey in 2025, it says the average cost to feed a family of 4 is $375 a week. That works out to just over $1,500 a month. The Health Unit says while inflation has significantly increased the cost of food, it suggests incomes have not kept pace with the cost of living. In most cases, it means that healthy, nutritious food is often compromised to pay for other necessities like rent. The Northwestern Health Unit says food insecurity affects about 1 in 5 families in the region. The sale of Sunny Cove Camp on Rainy Lake is facing a speed bump. The camp has been closed ever since the COVID-19 outbreak. The council voted 4-3 to move forward with the sale back in December. However, City Councillor Stephen Mackey is married to the president of the Kiwanis Club, which previously owned the camp. A conflict of interest motion was raised at City Council this past Monday night. It was eventually withdrawn, but Councillor Wendy Bernetta says she intends to speak to the Integrity Commissioner on the matter. I should note that this is a corrected version of a story that we previously shared on our website this morning. The Kiwanis Club sold the Sunny Cove Camp to the town in 2009 for $1. Thunder Bay City Council has approved $20,000 towards the Fort William BIA's South Core Roar Festival, which is half of the $40,000 originally requested. The funding will go toward water barricades needed for the August event. Commissioner of Infrastructure and Operations Kayla Dixon says the city currently has 14 of the barricades, but more would need to be purchased.
Seems that for this event, we might need somewhere between 10 and 15 new barricades, and the cost of that would be in the $18,000 to $20,000 for supply and delivery.
The original request for $40,000 would have covered costs for the barricades, security, and flower planters. Well, it's time for our first look at the weather forecast, and it might look sunny out there right now, but not for long. We have multiple chances of showers and thunderstorms throughout the outlook, with perhaps our best chance being on Sunday. And for those of you missing the summer heat, you don't have to wait too much longer. The fall forecast is coming up in a bit. 2 driving locals and a man from North York are facing drug trafficking charges. This comes after the 3 accused were stopped and searched by the OPP while traveling along Highway 17. The stop came as part of a drug trafficking investigation in the area. Police turned up cocaine in their search, and the three suspects are facing 1 count each of possession for the purpose of trafficking. Staying with the police force, the Atikokan OPP say they have arrested 2 people for having an identity document belonging to someone else. Police were helping the Thunder Bay OPP in tracking down a person with an outstanding warrant and a bail violation. During the investigation, officers noted that one of the men was holding an identity document that did not belong to them. A 29-year-old and a 58-year-old have been charged. The 58-year-old from Atikokan was held in custody, pending a bail hearing today. Still ahead, a planned power outage in Kenora tomorrow, and Hydro One customers in the area need to know. Airline companies are pushing for subsidies in Northern Ontario. The details on that. And later on, a big announcement regarding our set upgrade and the return of Talking Tom and Ben. We'll be back.
You've got places you need to go. Ontario is getting you there faster, easier, and safer. That's why we're widening Highway 1117 between Thunder Bay and Nipigon. We're protecting drivers on Highway 1117 to keep goods and people moving safely. We've got work to do. Find out what else we're building near you at ontario.ca/Ontario Builds. Paid for by the Government of Ontario.
T-Baytel works hard to provide the best mobility experience in Northern Ontario. But our connection to the North runs far deeper than the 5G waves we beam. We're here to support you through your everyday. We're here for every share, every stream, every catch-up. We're part of every team, every milestone, and every client call, backed by a dedicated team committed to the communities we call home. It's the 5G mobility network of the North. T-Baytel Mobility, part of your everyday.
Welcome back. A traffic note for people in Thunder Bay. As of Monday, the main entranceway for vehicles into the East End will be closed down. A $10 million upgrade of the Pacific Avenue overpass will shut it down until November. Vehicles will have to use the Main Street overpass at Island Drive to get in and out of the East End during the project. Pedestrians will have to use the underpass, and city officials say there will be regular security patrols in place. About 1,700 Hydro One customers will be without power tomorrow morning. The outage will affect Hydro One customers in Kenora up to Grassy Narrows. Electricity is scheduled to be off from 9 a.m. until noon on Thursday, though Hydro One suggests the power could be back on by 11 o'clock. Hydro One says it is installing new hydro poles in the area. The Kiwanis Club of Westfort has created a Thunder Bay Autism Hub, a website that can support families with autistic children. President Robin Cooper says she got the idea for the site when it took her many hours to track down support for her son.
Created to help families and service providers have sort of a one-stop shop for resources, including provincial resources, and then most importantly, local Thunder Bay resources. Because right now there's not really a one location where you can find this information. You have to look and Google and search, and it takes a lot of time.
You can check out the new site by visiting tbayautism.ca. Airline companies in Northern Ontario are pushing for subsidies on air travel in the region. They are calling it the Northern Ontario Airfare Affordability Program, using a Quebec program as the model. North Star Air's Vice President Tom Miller says it will require $40 million a year in government funding.
So that gives the traveler, at the time of booking, as in the Quebec model, 60 to 75% discount, which would allow, for individuals, would allow them to stay connected.
Miller says with things such as discount, ticket prices could be as low as $125 to $150 in some areas. Miller says they have had some good response in talks with the government, but still need to convince the Premier more of its need.
And now, your local forecast is brought to you by the Thunder Bay Community Auditorium.
We've had sunny skies throughout the day today, but there are storms brewing in the outlook, so let's take a look at the forecast. Tonight, clouds will be hanging around with a chance of showers and maybe a few rumbles of thunder. Areas around Dryden and Kenora will have fog patches developing overnight. Lows will range from 9 in Atikokan and Thunder Bay to 11 in Fort Frances to 13 in Kenora. Tomorrow there will be mixes of sun and clouds throughout much of the area, except in Thunder Bay where it's nothing but sunshine. Fort Frances, Dryden, and Kenora will see a chance of showers and again, maybe a few rumbles of thunder later in the day. Highs range from 21 in eastern areas of Northwestern Ontario to 26 in western areas. Tomorrow night, a few clouds will stick around with the shower and thunderstorm chances remaining in those same locations. Lows will be 9 in Atikokan, but around 12 to 14 elsewhere. Taking a look ahead, we have multiple chances of showers and thunderstorms throughout the outlook, but Sunday looks to be the best opportunity for some activity. I should note that some of the storms we get on Sunday could go strong to severe, but of course, the forecast changes every day, so keep it here for all the latest. And for those of you missing out on the summer heat, next week, our temperatures return to the high 20s and lower 30s, and that's your forecast. Up next, the Coney Island Playground continues to get some fundraising. A big announcement on our set upgrade is also on the way. And what's going on in sports, Paul? Well, we've got a big game for the Canadian soccer team in the World Cup, plus some Border Cats and Blue Jays action. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Bobby the Buoy here, the new hydro dam safety champion for Ontario Power Generation. Bobbing above and below the water, I know the dangers lurking in the depths, so avoid those damn danger zones. Together we can be damn safe. Stay clear and stay safe.
Welcome back. As you've just seen, we've got a new look coming for our newscast, so I'll warn this in just a moment. The Kenora Rotary Club continues to fundraise for an accessible playground on Coney Island. Spokesperson for Rotary, John Dahl, says the new playground should be completed by the middle of summer.
They started 2 weeks ago on Coney. They removed all the playground equipment and they have put in sand, and I believe right now they have some of the equipment there already, but it's not been assembled yet.
Kenora Rotary has committed $66,000 towards the project and has raised about 2/3 of the money. Today, NorCare presented a $5,000 donation for a picnic table that will be placed near the playground structure.
And now, the T-Bay Sports Report.
Hello everyone, I'm Talking Paul. It's a big day for the Canadian soccer team as they're playing Switzerland in the World Cup this afternoon. Canada sit atop Group B currently, and should they win or draw, they'll secure the top spot, which comes with a major benefit. It would mean they'll likely play a weaker opposition facing one of the teams that finished third in another group. It would also keep them in Canada for the first knockout game, with the winner of their group slated to play in Vancouver on July 2nd. However, if they lose, they'll likely finish second, which would see them play another second-place team in Los Angeles. There are several other big games in the World Cup today as teams prepare for their final group stage matches. Among the games, we have Brazil against Scotland, South Korea against South Africa, and Morocco against Haiti. After a 2-day break, the Thunder Bay Border Cats open a 4-game road trip tonight in Duluth. The Border Cats are 14-14 in the first half of the season. They'll be back at home on Sunday to start a 4-game homestand, which will conclude with Canada game matinee against Rochester. And finally, in Major League Baseball, the Toronto Blue Jays wrap up a 3-game home series against the Houston Astros tonight. The Blue Jays lost last night 9-7 in 11 innings, and they are now 39-40 on the season. That is your sports report, and Ginger, you've got some exciting news to share, I see. Indeed I do, Paul. Before I leave you guys tonight, we have just received some new information on our set upgrades and news graphics from Outfit 7 News Holdings. The remodeling process on our other set is going a lot faster than we originally expected it to be, and our technicians say the set will be finished by August. In addition, we have found a way to get older iOS apps installed, so we will be attempting to install an older version of the Talkin' Tom Ben News app in the next 2 days. If all goes well, and we hope to goodness it does, Talkin' Tom and Ben will be back on the air for our next newscast with the original voice qualities restored. Finally, with our set upgrades, we're receiving a fresh makeover to our news graphics, as you've seen briefly during the commercial break. We will have more details on these news graphics in the coming weeks. Anyway, that is going to do it for Northwest at 5 today. Take care, and we'll see you next time.